All right. I think we all know it's not a stretch to assume that PragerU is pretty transphobic. They've had speakers on there many, many times to talk about how trans women are actually men pretending to be women or who are delusional and they're crazy and they're rapists and yada, yada, yada. And leftist orthodoxy is pushing gender ideology. Just put all the buzzwords in there, okay? And so it's not surprising that they decide to make a video about women's sports and trans women. Ironically, you never see these people talk about trans guys in men's sports because, as you'll find, a lot of the time, trans dudes end up getting whooped in a lot of men's sports. Sometimes they don't, but that tends to be the general trend. And there's actually a lot of cases of trans men then dominating in women's sports whenever they're forced to compete against women. But I'm going to give you guys my solid, undefeatable take when it comes to trans people in sports, okay? My honest to God take is I don't think that the integrity of fucking sports is more important than the enfranchisement of a group of people in society, of a particular demographic like trans people. I don't think that in this case, integrity in sports fucking matters. Like, I really don't give a shit about it. I really, really don't care. I've seen a lot of really good arguments that at a certain point, the inequality in terms of like a trans woman against a cis woman in sports or a trans guy against a cis guy in sports kind of levels out and balances out much more than you would imagine. But unfortunately, there's just not enough data in this field in order to take a strong position in favor of trans people in sports. It's for real. There's just not like enough data. I generally, when it comes to situations like this or any particular position, I like to base my opinion about it around the scientific consensus, and there just isn't a scientific consensus around like trans people in sports yet. It's just not really a thing right now. So considering that, I'm not going to be focusing on the arguments of trans people in sports because the only people who get mad about this are transphobes. They use this one singular issue as a way of sort of painting a road or painting a line towards the rest of the transphobic arguments that someone would make, just kind of based off of this. Like, for example, Blair White. Do you guys remember how Blair White got in a shit ton of trouble recently for trying to say that Janae Marie Kroc, who is a power lifter, competed against cis women, like after transitioning, after she multiple times, like a dozen times stated she hasn't and never plans to? The reason why Blair White lied and did that is because it is really, really easy to stoke hatred against a trans woman and trans people in general by using the sports thing. By using the sports issue. It's very, very easy because there's not much you really have to argue. You can just say, oh, well, trans women generally developed through a male puberty, so that gives them the benefit of having a higher physical fidelity over cis women. And then the opposite way around about trans men, but they never talk about trans men. Never, never, never. So we're not going to focus on the trans women part. That's not what we're going to be doing here. Or, sorry, I should say the sports part. We're going to be looking for the transphobic arguments that PragerU makes, and we're going to debunk those. So let's just get right into it.
I've been training to be a championship sprinter since I was 8 years old. With the help of my parents, my coaches, and my teammates, I did it. By sophomore year of high school, in 2018, I was one of the top 5 female high school sprinters in Connecticut.
Do you want to know what this is going to be? Okay? So for one, this woman has sold her soul, okay? This girl fucking sold her soul to the devil by going on PragerU. That's actually what happens, all right? I know this to be true. I've talked to Hunter Avalone. He told me He can't taste food anymore. He did a PragerU video once. He featured in a PragerU video, and he regrets it. Whenever he did that, he can no longer taste food. He can't find animals cute anymore, and it also gives him problem. I'm just kidding, but no, you legitimately lose your soul if you ever appear in a PragerU video to speak for them. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys what this is going to be right off the bat. This video is going to be a sob story from this girl talking about how she worked so hard to become a sprinter, and then she participated in a championship or some sort of event against a trans woman, and the trans woman blew her the fuck out, and she's going to be like really mad about trans people in sports and talk about how it's unfair, and then that's going to be the video. That's what we're about to get.
With the help of my parents, my coaches, and my teammates, I did it. By sophomore year of high school in 2018, I was one of the top 5 female high school sprinters in Connecticut. But then, one day, I wasn't. At the state championships that year, 2 people passed me, passed all of us girls, literally. They finished first and second in our races, dominating the field. Were they more motivated? Did they train harder?
Yes.
I don't think so. But they did have an edge, a big one we couldn't match. They were biological boys who said they were transgender girls.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so like I said, it's possible to to have an actual non-transphobic discussion about like how fair it is to have trans people participating in a particular sport. But the problem is that's never what you hear. You never hear like a good faith discussion about like, okay, so if you're a trans woman and and you did not go on hormone blockers when you were a kid, you transitioned in adulthood after you'd gone through a male puberty, you no doubt have or would have for a significant amount of time into your transition a lot of the benefits that would afford you when it comes to athleticism. It is completely possible to have that discussion, but that's not the discussion they're having here. There is a reason they phrased it that way. There's a reason they framed it biological boys. Wait, that's what she said, right? Did I mishear that?
They did have an edge, a big one we couldn't match. They were biological boys.
Yeah, that sounds like a good, honestly, that actually sounds like a good band name, you know? The Bio Boys. Any bio boys in chat? I'm a bio boy. That's what I'm going to call myself from now on, a bio boy.
Who said they were transgender girls. Do you think that's fair? Males competing against females? Before you make up your mind, let me tell you a...
So this is pretty irrelevant to the argument about trans people in sports, but I still feel it's pretty important to point out. So the scientific community views biological sex as being very different and very complicated than how a lot of people view it. So biological sex isn't a binary, meaning there isn't just male and female. When you have a binary, it means there are 2 options. 2 options, no outliers. There are no outliers whatsoever in a binary. That is the rule. That is the rule 100% of the time. There can be no exceptions for there to be a binary. However, as I'm talking about, when it comes to sexual characteristics such as muscle density, bone density, genitalia, just all of the things that you think of, bone structure, all those things. Everything that you can think of physically, both primary and secondary sexual characteristics, these are viewed on a bimodal distribution, meaning it is a spectrum that favors heavily towards 2 sides. Here, I can actually show you guys a visual representation. Bimodal distribution, biological sex. Yeah, here we go. Here's a, accept cookies. Here's one from the Scientific American right here. Stop using phony science to justify transphobia. We can go down here. They should have a graphic to demonstrate it. Okay, they don't. Here, let's look at an image. Yeah, here's a good one right here. So basically, the idea is that it is a bimodal distribution. So on a binary, you wouldn't so much have a graph with two bumps on it. You would just have two circles. You would have the females and you would have the males. But rather, instead, you find that it is a spectrum. Look, the gender spectrum, which exists sort of alongside the spectrum of sex, I guess you could say. You've got a spectrum here, essentially, that favors heavily towards male and female, but there absolutely do exist people in the middle as well as people on the far outliers. It's kind of how it works. Also, look, it looks like titties if you're looking at it from the bottom or from the top, you know? That's the best way to view boobs. I like side boob and bottom boob are the best boob, and if anyone disagrees, then you guys are just wrong. And you guys need to sit down, you need to reconsider your beliefs, and come back to me when you realize that side and bottom boob are the best boob, okay? Just throwing that out there.
A bit about what it took for me to become a top female sprinter. It meant training with my team every day after school for at least 2 hours, working to shave fractions of a second off of my time in the 100 and 200 meter dash. It meant not...
Hey guys, I'm going to give you a spicy hot take, okay? I'm going to give you the spiciest take. Now, listen, if we're using personal anecdote here, which is what this video is all about, I'm going to use my own personal anecdote, okay? When I was in high school, I was a swimmer. I was a 4-year varsity letterman when I swam in high school. It was very cool. Very, very awesome. Love swimming. Now, my coach... now, I'm going to let you all know, swimming is a fucker's sport, okay? Swimming is a fucker's sport. It is awful, all right? I fucking hate, I despise some parts of swimming, but I still do enjoy it. It was a very love-hate relationship, okay? So I specialized in breaststroke. That's the one where you go, whoop. You know, you basically, I can't really represent it too well now because, like, I'll hit my microphone and everything. But with breaststroke, basically, the main thing is, like, with your hands, you bring them up like this. It's sort of like it's like you're eating a pizza, you know? You push your arms out, then you turn your hands and palms out. You pull all the way back behind you, and then you bring them back up through underneath your stomach. And it's like you're eating a pizza. That's the analogy that my coach used. And then you bring them back up, and then you reach out, and boom. Okay, that's breaststroke. And then you do a basic, like, frog kick with your legs. Okay, that's breaststroke. I used to do the 100-yard breaststroke. It's there and back twice. And then I also did the 500-yard freestyle. Is there anybody here, hypers in chat, if you've swam, I'd say professionally, but if you were ever on, like, a swim team, or you did, like if you ever did the 500-yard freestyle, who here knows what the 500-yard freestyle is? And who here knows just how fucking bad it is? People here that did swimming know about the 500-yard freestyle and know how fucking awful. Yeah, there's some people in chat. I see you. Yeah, you fucking know what I'm talking about, okay? The 500 free? Whew! Holy shit. That was fucking awful. 200 IM time? I never did IM because I was dog shit at backstroke and fly. Listen, when I was on the swim team, we did segregate the events when it came by, like, gender. We did do a segregation of the events by gender. Like, you had girls 500 free, boys 500 free, girls 200 IM, boys 200 IM, and so on. The problem is when we talk about swimming, for example, there were girls in the swim team that basically matched the best guys in the swim team. Now, this doesn't mean that there isn't obviously a biological difference between the top level ability of most women and most men, but I do think it's important to point out that when you throw in, like, hormones and a lot of the different ways through which trans people transition medically, there has been some evidence to suggest that you can start to even the odds there a little bit when it comes to the benefit or the advantage that one group might have. But this is mostly irrelevant to the whole, like, discussion we're having, because we're here to point out the transphobia and the arguments.
Hanging out after school or going out with friends on the weekends. It meant getting up early every Saturday morning and competing all day at a meet. It meant not indulging in any of the things that might cost me my dream. And here's the thing about the 2 biological males that took the top 2 girls' medals in the state of Connecticut.
Wait, they're biological males now? Interesting. They probably wouldn't be. I don't know. Does anybody here have a link to, like, if there was a news story about this, can I get a picture of the 2 trans women that blew her the fuck out? Can I see a picture of them? I just want to know what they look like. Because when it comes to biological sex and the bimodal distribution we discussed, it's very possible that physically they sit pretty far on the female end of the spectrum.
Their times were not even good enough to qualify them to compete in the state championships on the boys' team. Let me say that again in case you missed it. Their times were not good enough to qualify them for the boys' state championships.
Oh, nice. It sounds like whenever you're trans and you transition, then it kind of, makes you a lot weaker than dudes. Yeah, because they're fucking girls and women suck at sports. Sorry, I said it. Women are weak. It's true. They're weak. Women, they're just weak, okay? Not sorry. It's true, okay? Women, they can't do it. They just can't pull through. They honestly can't. I can't do a Trump impression, but that would be it. Yeah, clip it.
But 2 years in a row, they won first and second place competing against the girls. All in all, these 2 biological males won 15 women's state championship titles. Some in the media have accused me of being a sore loser. They tell me to...
Well, you definitely are a sore loser, okay? Listen, going on PragerU and whining about it is the definition of being a sore loser, okay? But I would argue, more than being a sore loser, the more important thing, because everyone's kind of a sore loser, let's be honest. Like, guys, everybody is kind of a sore loser. Nobody likes to lose anything, all right? Especially me when it comes to video games, all right? Holy shit. You guys haven't seen me when I'm angry at Fortnite, okay? That's why I had to stop playing Fortnite. It just makes me too fucking mad, okay? Video games get me real fucking mad, okay? Real mad. So I don't really care so much about the sore loser part, which you definitely are. What actually makes me mad, personally, is the transphobia, which is what you're displaying here.
To run harder. But the biological changes that males go through during puberty are so significant, they gain an insurmountable advantage in strength and in speed.
I'm glad you made that argument. I'm actually very glad you made that argument because it is true. But it supports my position. You see, these are the same people that fucking rail against the idea of hormone blockers. You'll find that a lot of people that are like transphobic make a lot of arguments like, oh, you want to put children on hormones and push this gender ideology onto kids. And that's really just not true in any case. Literally no scenario would you be putting kids on hormones unless it was for a different medical reason. Because there are non-trans related medical reasons where you would put kids on hormones, such as like deficiencies and whatnot. But the reason why doctors recommend that trans kids get hormone blockers is because essentially it allows them to slow down and stem their puberty and allow them to age to a point where it would be appropriate for them to make the decision to go on hormones. And because hormone blockers are reversible and don't really have any serious negative side effects that have been discovered after quite a bit of testing and a lot of trials, it's pretty safe to put them on there. They get to have the opportunity of not going through the wrong puberty, and it just helps them with their transition in general. And if they're going to be competing in sports against you, I promise you want to go up against a trans woman who was able to go on hormone blockers when she was a kid, rather than a trans woman who wasn't allowed to do it and so went through the wrong puberty.
That's why boys always competed against boys and girls against girls. U.S. runner Allison Felix is an inspiration to me. She's the fastest female sprinter in the world. Her lifetime best for the 400 meters is 49.26 seconds. But based on 2018 data, nearly 300 high school boys in the U.S. alone could beat that record. What we are talking about then is not just boys taking women's trophies, though they are. And we aren't talking about biological boys taking women's athletic scholarships, though they'll do that too. When biological boys are allowed to compete against girls in sports like track, where the differences in performance.
Also, I'd like to point out, I feel like this argument is pretty obvious, but the term, there's a reason why in the trans community, a lot of people jokingly use the term bio girl or bio boy. You ever heard that used before? I know all of you have, because like, fuck, 90% of you or something are trans. Like 90% of you in chat right now are trans, but the reason why people use this term is because it's fucking laughable to use it. So here's the thing. Boy and girl, man and woman aren't sexes. Male and female are descriptors for biological sex. Boy, girl, and man, woman are gender identities. And it's in gender and sex, as we all know, we're all big brains here, you know? We all agree with the overwhelming scientific consensus, the dominating, crushing scientific consensus that sex and gender aren't the same thing. So a good way to gauge whether or not the person that you're discussing this with has no idea what they're talking about is if they use terms like biological and then gender. If they use biological as a descriptor and then follow it up with a gender identity, then you know they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. That's usually a good red flag.
Performance are so great. We are talking about girls getting shut out, never getting the chance to win or even compete at all. When two biological boys took the first and second place spots against me in the 2019 indoor state.
Oh, really quickly, I forgot to show you guys. I know we kind of saw it on the title card thing, but I want to show you guys the thumbnail really quick. Here, you see that? Do you see that thumbnail? I just thought I would really like to point out that thumbnail there. You know, you got the I guess trans woman in the front there that's supposed to be a trans woman with all like the leg and arm hair and the armpit hair and the mustache. I don't know why they decided to give the person they put in the thumbnail like a 1920s 1800s like barber mustache, you know? I don't know why that was the one they decided to go with. Like they could have just done a beard if they wanted to go for ultra transphobia, but yeah, no, that I just thought I'd point that out just in case there was any disagreement on whether or not this video is intended to be transphobic. Just wanted to point that out.
2019 Indoor State Championship,
the porn stash, yes.
I lost the opportunity to participate at the New England Championships. I lost the chance to be scouted by top coaches, possibly even to win scholarships.
No.
Right now, biological boys are being allowed to set records on the girls' team, deleting girls' records, erasing the achievements of actual girls, and setting a standard probably no girl can meet, no matter how much she trains or how hard she tries. The reason that we have girls' sports in the first place is to give female athletes with talent, hard work, and dedication an equal opportunity to shine and be recognized.
Sorry. I don't care because I hate women. Based. Red-pilled. Squad W. No, not really. I really don't give a fuck about sports, if we're being completely honest. This all supports the argument that you should allow trans people to go on hormone blockers in their kids with the discretion of doctors, you know? This seems to be the overwhelming consensus. Like, why not just let trans kids go on hormone blockers like the doctors and psychologists and everything say they should? Like, that would literally solve this problem for the most part. Like, just let them go on hormone blockers. Okay, if there are people in chat that actually think that the I hate women thing is like not a joke, then I don't know what to tell you, but you need to fucking work on yourself, okay? Please, grow a sense of humor and come back to me once you have.
But girls will never have that opportunity if they are forced to compete with biological boys in sports like track and field, softball, volleyball, or basketball. Women fought too hard for too long so girls like me can have the opportunity to compete on a level playing field.
So it's really interesting when a reactionary outlet like PragerU, which preaches conservative values like that women should be in the kitchen, women shouldn't pursue, jobs in STEM fields or shouldn't pursue things like sports, because the beliefs that are spread by PragerU on basically any other video are that women should be barefoot in the kitchen, pumping out babies and making pies. That is what they believe. But when it comes to shitting on minorities, particularly trans people, then they'll do the virtue signaling thing of like, oh, look at this young woman who's working so hard to achieve this thing, and she's getting screwed out of it because of trans biological males in sports. Like, they'll literally switch their opinion on that in a heartbeat if it gives them the opportunity to shit on trans people.
Maybe worst of all, when girls try to object, when we point out the truth, that biological differences in strength and speed between boys and girls.
Listen, guys, I love all of you. I genuinely love every single one of you in chat right now, unless you're a Nazi that's just sitting and hate watching. Actually, I love you too. Even the Nazis that are hate watching right now, I love you all too. One day we'll get you, okay? But don't do like body shaming, like attacks towards the appearance of this fucking high school girl, okay? Don't do that. All right, listen, she's a transphobic piece of shit, and she's spewing right-wing propaganda, but come on, she's a fucking high schooler. Like, you can criticize her ideas and make fun of her for being a sore loser and being transphobic and so on, but don't attack the appearance of this fucking high schooler, okay? You can call her a loser. Don't make fun of like her roots or whatever the fuck you guys are talking about in chat, okay? It's kind of fucking sus, unless you're also a high schooler, in which case, go to town.
Are massive and real, we're called bigots. Administrators, teachers, coaches, and other students tell us to just keep quiet and take it. We are told a girl's place is to be seen and not heard.
This is virtue signaling. Textbook fucking virtue signaling, okay? Women should be seen and not heard is the belief of Dennis Prager and his constituents, okay? Women are to be seen and not heard is the belief of PragerU, the ideology of which they spout, but they'll bring a woman on to virtue signal this whenever it comes to shitting on trans people or any other minority group where this is like a prescient argument they think they can use. I love that. I love how they'll fucking switch their opinion on a fucking dime when it comes to something like this.
Well, we won't be silenced. We are fighting back. With 2 other top female runners in Connecticut, I have filed a federal lawsuit under Title IX to protect the rights of women and girls to a fair competition on a level playing field.
How much do you want to bet that the Alliance Defending Freedom is the ADF is helping her with the lawsuit? Have you heard about that? Have you guys heard about that, chat? Basically, there's a channel on YouTube called the Alliance Defending Freedom. They make PragerU type videos. They're like animated and they talk about like free speech on college campuses and stuff like that. And they're backed by billionaires, and they use that money to help conservative students usually sue their schools for a ton of money for having like rules against hate speech on their campuses. And they win a lot of the time because they have so much money they can afford like the best lawyers you can get your hands on. So yeah, I definitely fucking bet that Alliance Defending Freedom provided her with lawyers if she ends up winning this lawsuit.
Please don't turn your backs on us, America. This isn't about gender identity. It's about fair play. I'm Selena Soul for Prager University.
This
Oh my fucking god! Holy
video was
shit!
sponsored by Alliance Defending Freedom.
I don't... This is my victory dance. I'm flossing on him. I don't fucking miss. He don't fucking miss. He don't fucking miss. Holy shit. I fucking knew it. How did I know? Holy shit. I must just spend too much fucking time doing this, okay? This is what happens when covering this type of shit is your job. You get to a point where you just know. You just kind of fucking know. I did floss while I was ziplining. Yeah, they told me to do my best dance move when I went ziplining the other day, so I decided to floss while I was ziplining down a mountain. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, I'm Legolas. I never miss. Holy fuck. Yeah, the Alliance Defending Freedom is fucking awful. What was her name? Selena Soul, I think she said her name was?
Identity. It's about fair play. I'm Selena Soul for Prager University.
Selena Soul. How much do you want to bet we're gonna find some juicy shit if we look up some shit about this fucking chick? I'm not seeing anything actually. It could be spelled. Oh, I found it. So if you look it up, here's what comes up. You get Selena Soul track athlete story by Alliance Defending Freedom. Who would have thought? High school runner who lost to transgender athletes by IWF.org. YouTube video. Selena Soul was forced to compete against boys. Ah, yes, of course. So yeah, basically everything that seems to come up is also her like recruiting profile. If you do sports like in high school or whatever, and you're like pretty good, you'll probably like have a recruiting profile. I had one when I was. You can probably find mine from when I was in the swim team. I remember I would back when I was in the swim team, I would look myself up on Google to see if there was like anything about my swimming stuff up there, and I actually found a few things. So hey, if there are any detectives here and you want to dig back far enough, you might be able to find some of that shit if it's still online. I don't think they would still have me up since I've been out of high school for years, but you know, you're gonna dox your old school. Well, I was homeschooled, but I swam for the school that I was zoned for, and I've said which school I swam for online. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. That is how do I never fucking miss? God damn. Oh, look, they're doing a fundraiser, too. They've already raised... This video's been up for 6 hours, and they've already raised almost $17,000. Donate to help PragerU fight censorship? Are they going to try to sue YouTube again? Do you guys remember PragerU's pathetic attempt to sue YouTube for putting age locks on some of their videos? Jesus Christ. These people are fucking crybabies. They are just little whiny crybaby bitches. Get it out of here. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, ring the bell if you want to actually get notified when I go live, because YouTube doesn't think that just hitting the sub button's enough to actually get notified whenever I upload or go live on my channel. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and you want to support the video, and leave a comment as well if you want to say anything. If you have some money sitting around and you want to support me, because, you know, independent YouTuber, all that shit, make money off of, you know, donations. Basically, you can become a member on the channel, or you can donate or sub on the website. And you can also sub to me on Patreon if you want. That would also be pretty pog. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and have a good one.